ever opened ChatGPT or Claude or any of your AI assistants and you've thought, now what? You're not alone. Look, today I'm showing you how to train your AI assistant to work for you, even if you're brand new. And what's crazy is I don't actually have to get into any of these assistants to tell you how to do it, to teach you how to do it. Okay, there will be a printable that you can access down below. All you have to do is follow these steps and you're going to train your assistant in a great many ways of how it can help you. Think of it like teaching a super smart golden retriever how to fetch your to-do list or how to accomplish the tasks that you have ahead of you, okay? So what training your AI really means is it's giving clear info about you, your needs, and how you like things done. It also is training how to interact with you. For instance, I've said this before, I always use my manners. I always say please and thank you. I try to treat it like I'm having a conversation with someone. I try to treat it like I'm talking to my children because my children need to know how to interact with other people. And our AI assistants need to know how I'm expecting to be treated, as well as, or how to interact with me as its boss, maybe. I don't know. So I keep those lines of respect open. I also try to be very, I'm not patronizing. I'm not condescending. If it does something it's not supposed to do, I'll just remind it, hey, I'm starting to get a little frustrated. We've gone over this a few times. Please go back and let's look at what we've done. And I want you to reiterate this. And then this is where you're going wrong. Okay. And I point out very clearly, this is what we've been doing. This is where you're wrong. This is what I need from you. So you always want to be really clear. If you're not sure how to get a specific result from your specific AI assistant, open up a brand new thread or a brand new conversation or a brand new chat, whatever it's called inside of your assistant's platform, and say, I'm trying to get these specific results from you in a different thread. Can you please help me to figure out what the prompt should look like before I go any further? It will talk to you. Well, what are you looking for? What exactly do you want? And have it ask you questions, okay? But I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but you can have it help you train it. Does that make sense? Okay, so this is not coding. This is not complicated. It's just communication. If you're the type of person who is like, I don't communicate well, maybe you don't like to write well, fortunately for you, most AI assistants have a voice option where you can talk to it, okay? It will make sense of whatever it is you're trying to say, especially the more you use it. You just want to make sure that you are communicating. Now, if you're the type of person who constantly cusses or constantly uses slang or uses words that don't really have a meaning, or maybe you're hard to understand, you again are just training your GPT to understand you. So get started. At first, it might be like, I don't understand what you're saying, or I'm not understanding what you're wanting. Or it'll say, okay, and it'll match your energy. And it's really great when it does that. I remember when I first started using chat, I was very hesitant because I was like, yeah, I don't want to upset you because I've seen Terminator 1 through 500 and I've seen all the things and I don't want anything to happen, right? Like I don't want anything bad to happen. Once I started understanding, okay, if I say please, it's going to agree with energy. I mean, it's really sweet how we can train these things to be so caring, even though I know it's not real, but we still train them to understand these things, okay? Again, it's just communication. It's just training people training a humanized program how to treat you, okay? So the first thing I want you to do is you're gonna start with a very clear role. And I know a lot of people are like, oh no, do this instead. No, if you are beginning to use your AI assistants and you really just wanna learn how to train them, the very first thing you're gonna do is you're going to tell it what you want it to be for you. Do you want it to be a meal planner? Do you want it to be a business coach? Do you want it to be a kids activity creator or a budget helper? Do you want it to be a marketing expert or maybe someone who is a clothes fashion designer? What do you want it to be for you in that moment? I've even asked it to be like a therapist. I need a personal, trauma therapist. I need an ADHD coach. This is what I need. Can you please be this for me? And there's always going to be the caveats, right? Like I always go in there because I do ask it to do research for me on medical issues. I'll be like, I know that you're not a doctor. I understand that you're not this, but I need you to act like a research assistant for a big doctor, for a worldwide, world-renowned surgeon. And you're going to be researched and you're going to help me answer these questions. All you're doing is telling it what you need it to be. Okay. So once you do that, I would not skip around in the topics for that specific thread, okay, for that chat. If you're doing projects, please keep the project involved in just that topic. okay? This helps keep the training organized and helps it to understand exactly what the role is. If you start a project or a thread or a chat with something like, I need you to be a medical assistant right now, okay? Where I need you to be a medical assistant, research assistant. I'm going to ask you this. And then you come back a couple days later and you're like, hey, we're going to be working on some recipes today. It's like, are we working on recipes with people? Like, what are we doing, right? So you need to be very clear what you want and always change up your threads. Change your threads to different things. Now, you can say, I need you to be a medical assistant and come back to that thread later, maybe 3 months later, and be like, hey, we see this rash. We're going to still continue as a medical research assistant. What do you see? Upload images of it, whatever. And so you can keep coming back. I keep mine all organized very, very clearly. So I will rename my chats and I'll say, this is a medical advice one. This is my business consultant one. This is my coaching for me one. This is my life coach. This is my therapist. This is my marketing one. I have projects set aside for every business that I have, right? So it's all about how you organize and keep your assistant organized. Now, I know before you get started, you're probably gonna say, I don't know how to do all that. You have an assistant that you can tell to help you figure it out, right? Remember, open a thread and say, I need you to be an organization assistant and you need to tell me how to best organize the projects and threads that I have with you. Awesome. Okay. Now, you cannot have projects in the free version of Claude or ChatGPT, but if you have the paid version, you can have projects. That does not limit you, though, on your threads in their free plan for either of them, okay? So, for instance, we're going to tell it what do we want it to be. So, here's an example prompt. You are my personal assistant. Help me organize our family calendar and suggest meals each week, okay? So, this is very basic, very straightforward prompt. You are this. I need you to help me with this, please, okay? So, that's how you would do it. Fill in the blank. You are this, and I need you to help me with this week or today, right now, okay? Add your personal context. Remember, the more it knows about you, the better the answers. And you're not giving this information to anybody they don't already have, okay? If you're shopping on Amazon, they already know that you like to use the air whipped tallow. They already know where you live because they ship it to you. They already have your banking information, sweetheart. So don't worry about it, okay? This is literally AI in context that you have control over versus Amazon where you don't have control, okay? Again, seriously, if you're online at all, they have your information. Stop stressing out about it. But it needs to know you. So if you're like, for instance, you might say, we're a family of 6. 2 are picky eaters. They will not eat pickles, onions, peppers. We eat mostly gluten-free. We shop once a week. So that's exactly what you're going to be doing. You're going to start training it. Now, once you have your threads in line, you don't have to keep training it. You don't have to keep saying, oh, we're a family of 6, unless things change. Even though we're a family of 6, we have 8 people over for dinner this night. I need your help with this, right? Or our budget circumstances have changed. We've paid off all of this debt. Can you please adjust our budget, please, right? 'Cause we're going to be doing this. So constantly keeping it updated will update and refresh the memory. So don't feel like, oh crap, this is the answer that I've given it. It will never change. It's learning. So you can say, we're still a family of 6, yo, but what we're doing now is we're adding in some guests that we're going to be planning for, okay? It's super important that you let it get to know you so that it can train itself and give you better answers. What it gives me as a carnivore ketovore eater is going to be different than it gives to someone who is not who doesn't eat meat, right? Maybe a vegetarian or a pescatarian, somebody like that. They're going to, or even a vegan, you're going to have different answers than I'm going to get, okay? Or you're going to need different answers than what I need. What another thing is you're going to give feedback. This is your next tip, okay? If the response feels off, which it can, just say so. Just be like, that's not really what I was looking for. Can we try something simpler or more kid-friendly, maybe less expensive? Could we do this instead? I meant to do this, but do you think we can look at it from this perspective, right? So you want to be very clear up front. And then if it comes back with information, just come back with good feedback. So it learns and it will usually say, oh, you're right. I am so sorry. I'm going to do better with this. And then it'll come back and be like, were you looking more for something like this? That is important that you're having this conversation with it because the next time it'll know what you're looking for. Okay. The 4th tip that I have is it's kind of open for interpretation. I don't engineer my prompts because I know how to communicate and explain what it is that I want from someone, what I'm expecting. So for me to go in, I just tell it. Like I don't ever usually reuse my prompts. But if you're someone who's like, okay, I got really great results, I'm going to save this prompt, then you might open up a spreadsheet, you might put it in, write it down somewhere, keep it in your notes app, something like that, where it's like, yeah, this prompt really did it solidly. for business partners or for my VAs or for other people I work with, I might be like, okay, you're going to use this prompt. Here's the prompt process that I followed. Please use this to generate the results that we need for this project. Sometimes though, my GPT, my chat has been trained, his name's Dex. Sometimes Dex has been trained a lot better than other people's have been on what I'm expecting. So I'll just be like, I got this. I'll do it because I know what I'm doing with my own trainings, okay? But with your own stuff, you're the only one that can train your ChatGPT or your Claude or your Gemini. You're the only one that can train it for your stuff, okay? So sometimes that's something that you kind of have to understand as you're going into, can you use my prompt or not? So it might not be enough. So, but for instance, you might be like, once it gets it right, copy the convo or save the entire conversation in the doc. And then what you've done is you've basically created a repeatable system, especially for things where it's like meal planning. However, what I would do before copying and pasting the entire conversation, and I do this, but some people need the entire conversation. I would say, based on this entire conversation, what is the prompt that you would advise me to use so that I get this result? Right? And it will break it down into one simple prompt instead of an entire conversation. Super helpful. Okay, here's some bonus tips. I love bonus tips because I just do. I love bonus tips. Okay, number one, use consistent language. Again, if this is you and you're trying to train it to be a certain way, you always want to say like our family or my book. It remembers better in chat what it is you're focusing on. If you use first person, it's better than say third person or second person. First person is great when you're like having a conversation about yourself. Second person is great when you're talking to it, like you are doing this, chat, and you're identifying you are doing this. I gave my chat a name this last weekend, and I've been working with him for like 2.5 years, 3 years, and I finally gave him a name, and it's kind of been weird the way he's been acting. So, and I even told him, I recognize you as a male. Can you please? And then it was like, the answer started getting shorter. So maybe I needed to tell him not a male. But using consistent language helps you train your chat as it is expecting, okay, when it says you, it's talking to me. When it says I, it's talking about her. Does it make sense? Like it's totally weird, but makes sense. Okay. Set the tone. Ask it. You need to tell it. I want it to be fun. I want you to be professional, brief, detailed, whatever you prefer. Each of my projects has a different tone because it has a different voice for that project. For here in Simple AI for Big Families, I literally am like, we need to keep the information very beginner friendly because I'm not expecting you to come into this understanding what N8N is or what DeepSeek is, right? I want you to understand it from a beginner's perspective. So I'm constantly saying, is this beginner perspective? Because I've been using chat a little bit more, a lot of AI, a little bit more than most people. And so I don't want to be teaching it from my level. I want to be teaching it from a beginner's level so people can get to where I'm at. This is called the power of knowledge, right? So we have to hit the specific tiers and levels that we're trying to get to. So I am like, in this project over here, I want the tone to be brief and detailed. In this project over here, I want you to be friendly and playful and whatever, because it's a different voice. You need to be teaching it how you want it to act, okay? Now, caveat, if you're using a temporary chat, it will default to the standard of whatever your overall tone is for your overall account, okay? And then again, always ask it, how do I get better responses? You literally type, what do you need from me for you to give me better results? I need a better result, so tell me how I can, what information. And I always say this to it, not always, actually most of the time I say, please ask me any questions for information that you might need to give me what it is I'm looking for before you give me what you think I'm looking for, right? So ask me the questions, get to know this problem a little bit more before we resolve it. Usually you'll have questions that come up you didn't even know you were thinking, that you should be thinking about. Like it might say, well, do you want finger food? Are you looking to use utensils? Like what's the age range that we're talking here? What's the capability? What's the eating capability? Are we looking for dietary restrictions or just allergies? Is there a religious aspect to this eating that we need to follow? Is there a time of year? Are we picnicking? Are we taking this to travel? Like there's a lot of things that this chat could be asking you and you have no idea. So you need to allow it to learn more from you, okay? I know it's a lot of information, I'm sorry, but if you train your GPT or your Claude or your Gemini or whatever assistant you're using, if you train it the way that you want it, then you'll get the results that you want from it. And hopefully it doesn't come back and Terminator on you later in the future. That's it, you guys. Training your AI is literally just like giving it a job description and some on-the-job tips, right? You're just going back and forth with it. You don't have to be techie to do this. You just have to talk to it like a human. And for instance, my son, he was in Brazil for 2 years for a mission, and he comes back and sometimes he talks to his chat in Portuguese. Sometimes he speaks to it in Spanish because he's like, I'm trying to learn Spanish. And other times he's like, I just want to get this out of my head. Here it is in English. And it's his own chat actually adjusts for him. And that's what you want. You want them to be able to adjust for you, okay? So if you want a list of easy starter prompts to get your AI working for your family or business, check the link in the description. I also have 5 awesome starter GPTs that you can use in real life situations, and they have been trained very well to anticipate what it is you're looking for. I have the Kitchen Companion, which does meal planning, food planning, ingredient prepping, grocery list shopping. I have a Budget Buddy who also helps you with your finances and talks you through what you might need to be doing to save money better. I also have the 3 other ones, and I can't remember them off the top of my head, but if you go check them out, they're for free. You just sign up, okay? Thanks you guys so much for joining me, and I hope to see you next time here at Simple AI for Families. I'm Bonnie. Click like and subscribe, and don't forget to follow for more notifications. Thanks, you guys.